Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome, dear students, again in another lesson. This is Miss Layla Al-Jahani. Inshallah, today we will continue our Unit 6. Today we will cover the grammar, lesson 3. If we want to remember what we covered in our previous lesson. In our previous lesson, we covered pair work with teacher Ahmed. Pair work, you practice asked and answered questions and you used vocabulary to answer questions. Inshallah, today, by the end of our lesson, you will be able to create statements using comparative and superlative forms of adjectives, make comparisons with as and as. Okay? Before we start, I gave you homework, page 123. Okay? Exercise A, look at the photos. You have photos in your book. Circle the one that matches the description best. Okay, you have descriptions, so you have to match it with the pictures. Okay, I'm sure you did it. Let's see the answers. For cleaner air, picture A. Lower cost of living, picture A. Larger green space, picture B. For better public transportation system, B. Okay. Exercise B, complete the sentences, use the words from the box. So you have to use these words to fill in the blanks, okay? Number 1, we live in a small town and my grandparents live in a very big city. It takes less money for my family to live in our small town house than it takes for my grandparents to live in their big city apartment. Our what? Which word are we gonna use? Excellent. Cost of living is lower than my grandparents. Okay. B, Berlin's what? Think. Which word are we gonna use? Is awesome. We visited the city last year and they have an amazing subway. It's always on time and doesn't cost a lot. It's very what and what. Which word are we gonna use? So for the first blank, public transportation system, and then it's very punctual and efficient. Okay, these are the adjectives we are using for 2. For 3, an apartment and a small house are 2 examples of what? That is available in the city. Both the houses and apartments aren't very big. They are really small and what? Which adjective are we gonna put here? So example of housing, okay? Small and cozy. Exercise 4. I love Denver, Colorado. It's an awesome city to live in. There are a lot of trees and parks with all the here in the city. It's really easy to go walking or cycling whenever I want. That's important to me. My family and my friends, we think that what in Denver is the best of any city in the world. What should we put? So here in the first blank, green spaces. Okay, the quality of life in Denver, this is for the second blank. Number 4, Todd lives in the suburb and not in a big city, He likes his neighborhood. It's safe and quiet and people know their neighbors. In fact, there hasn't been a robbery in this neighborhood for 2 years. The what is definitely lower in his neighborhood than in the city. They mentioned robbery, so which word are we going to use? Crime rate. Excellent. Now for our lesson, if you can open your books, page 1661, this is our grammar. Okay, the first part, comparative and superlative forms of adjective. What do they mean? Look at the sentences here. Buses are fast. Bus tickets are expensive. Okay? When we want to change it to comparative, this is a regular sentence. This is not a comparative or a superlative. When we want to change it to comparative, when we want to compare, we said trains are faster than buses. We are comparing between trains and buses. صح? So here, train tickets are more expensive. This is for the comparative. For the superlative, planes are the fastest. So we are comparing planes with what? Think about it. With other transportations. Excellent. Plane tickets are the most expensive. Okay? So when do we use the comparative? When do we use the superlative? Okay? Why did we use faster here? Look at the comparative statements. Why did we say faster here in the sentence about trains and buses, but fastest here? Here we said faster and here we said fastest. Because faster here is what? Excellent, it's comparative. And here, fastest, it's superlative. What is the difference between the comparative and the superlatives? How we differentiate between the two? In the comparative, comparatives are used to show the difference between two objects or people. We can compare between two people or two objects, like Ahmed and Ali. Ahmed is taller than Ali. Ali is shorter than Ahmed, okay? Use these adjectives to form sentences. We have tall and short. Can you put it in a sentence using comparative? Compare between two things around you. Two people, you and your siblings, write two statements. So we have here, this is an example, Amal is taller than Shahad. Shahad is shorter than Amal. This is a comparative. We are comparing between two things or two people, okay? With the superlative, the difference here, we use the show difference between three or more. We have three people or three things or more, okay? When we want to compare between, like, for example, Ahmed and all his classmates, okay? How many are they? It's more than two. So we use the superlative form of adjective, okay? We use these adjectives to form sentences. We have heavy and light. Think about something heavy or light and compare between this object and other things, like, for example, animals. Think about animals or fruits. These are examples. The watermelon is the heaviest fruit. This is an example. The pineapple is the lightest fruit. Okay, if we have a group of fruits and we are comparing the weight between these fruits, these are the statements we write. Okay. The comparative, the same statements here. Another question: why do we add er to faster? Here we added er. Okay. And we added more with expensive. Here we have faster and expensive. We didn't say expensiver. We said more expensive. Why? Okay? The reason is sometimes we have short adjectives and long adjectives. With the short adjectives, one or two syllables, okay? Most words we add er, like, for example, slow. Slow, it will be slower. Fast, faster. Tall, taller. You can find this on your book. Better write it down with me. And sometimes we have adjectives that end with a consonant and y. Okay? What do we do? What is the rule? We remove the y, we add I-E-R. Like here, hungry, we crossed the y, we added I-E-R, hungrier. Happy, happier. Funny, funnier. Okay? Sometimes we have adjectives that end with a vowel, then a consonant. Like what? For example, we have a vowel here, I, and then a consonant. What do we do with these? We double the consonant and then we add er. Big bigger. We double the consonant. Fat, fatter. Fit, fitter. Okay, this is the rule if we have a short adjective. If we have a long adjective, 3 or more syllables, use the word more. That's why with more expensive, it's a long adjective. That's why we used more to make the comparative form. Most 2-syllable adjectives which do not end with a Y. Mary is more polite than Cindy. Tom is more helpful than Peter. All adjectives of 3 syllables or more. Candy is more hard working than. Notice that we use than. Faster than. We add than with the comparative, okay? Joey is more good looking than Tom. This is how we use the comparative if we have a long adjective, okay? طيب, look at the superlative. Here we said fastest and here most. Why? It's the same. With the short adjective, we add est, similar to the one we read before. So most words, most adjective, we just add est, like slow, the. We add the, slowest. Fast, the fastest. Tall, the tallest. And ending with a consonant and a y, also we remove the y and add iest. Hungry, the hungriest. Happy, the happiest. Funny, the funniest, okay? Ending with a vowel and a consonant, the same thing. We double the consonant, and then we add est. Big, the biggest. Fat, the fattest. Fit, the fittest, okay? With the long adjectives, what do? We add the most to make the superlative form when we're comparing between 3 or more adjectives with 2 syllables or more. Beautiful, the most beautiful. Dangerous, the most dangerous. Crowded, the most crowded, okay? Sometimes when we are comparing, we have irregular forms, okay? So we have like good. When we are comparing between 2, we say better than. Like buses are better than trains, okay? With the comparative. But we can say trains are the best. When we are using the superlative, we use the best. These are irregulars, okay? We have bad, worst, the worst, okay? The example is here. Buses are less expensive than taxis. Here it's a long adjective, okay? We can say more or less expensive than. This is the comparative form. But the subway is the least expensive way to travel. This is the superlative, okay? Can you look at exercise A? Complete the sentences. Use the correct form of the adjective. You have the adjectives here between brackets. You have to think, are we comparing between 2 things? Can you see than? If you see than, then we use the comparative form. If you can't see it, are we comparing between one thing and other things? Okay, think about it. Pause the video, okay? Pause the video, discuss it with your friend, write down the answers using a pencil, talk to your friends. Why did you use the comparative? Why did you use the superlative? And then let's see the answers together. The downtown area is usually what? Than the suburbs. Noisier. We use the comparative. We said noisier. Excellent. We added ER. We crossed the Y. We added IER. Okay. The hospitals in cities are usually than ones in the country. So we are comparing between what? Cities, hospitals in cities and hospitals outside the cities, in the countryside. So what should we do? Good. Do you remember? How do we form good? You can see it here. Good, we say Excellent. We say better. We say better when we are using the comparative form. Number 3, public transportation is what? At night than during the day. So we use comparative also. What should we write? It's frequently, it's a long adjective. We say less frequent or more frequent. Number 4, my hometown has the what? Air of all the towns in the country. We are comparing our hometown and more than one town. So we are comparing, we're using the superlative, صح? So how can we do it? Excellent. Cleanest, we add EST to the adjective. 5, many people say that Sao Paulo has the what? Traffic in the world. So we are comparing Sao Paulo, it's a city, with all the cities around the world. So this is a superlative form we're using. Do you remember bad? What should we say? Excellent. Worst. Worst. We say worst. 6, the subway is at rush hour than at other times. So we're comparing between rush hour and all other times. So we can see than here. So it is comparative. Excellent. So we say more crowded. Okay. 7, housing is usually, it's a long adjective, in the country than the city. So when we see than, automatically we know it's a comparative forms. Less expensive in the country than in the city. 8, the last one, the cost of living in small towns is usually than. Than. Is it superlative or comparative? Comparative form, because we see than in big cities. Excellent. We say cheaper, cheaper. Easy? Hopefully it is. Another part of grammar here, we have comparisons with as and as. What do they mean? Use as and as to say that two things are the same or different. You can use just for emphasis. To make an emphasis, you use just. Can you think about an example? If you look around the class, you have 2 girls or 2 boys, they have the same height. You can say Muna is as tall as Maha. They have the same height. They're not different. When things are similar, okay, you use as and as when there is no difference between them, okay? In Japan, trains are as expensive as planes. So as, and then you put the adjective in the middle, then you write another as planes. You are comparing between the trains and planes, and you think they have similar expense. So as expensive as. This hostel is just as comfortable as the hotel, and it doesn't cost as much. Our neighborhood isn't as noisy as our old one, and it's not as dangerous. Okay, so we can use it with the negative or regular sentence. For more emphasis, we use just. Okay? To practice this exercise, look at exercise B. Write sentences using as and as. For example, the Maxi camera is easy to use. The Digitron model is just as easy. So we are comparing between 2 models of cameras. So they are the same. How can we make these 2 sentences into one? The Maxi camera is just as easy to use as the Digitron. Okay? So you have 2 sentences. You have to combine it into one using as and as. Okay? Pause the video, think about it. Think how can you change it? How can you combine the 2 sentences into one? And then let's see the answers together. The flash computer is fast. The XYZ model is just as fast. How can we make it as one? The XYZ model is as fast as the flash computer. Okay, so we are comparing between the two like this. Number 2, Majid is a smart young man, and so is his brother Nasser. So we're comparing between Majid and Nasser. So how can we write it? Excellent. Majid is as smart as his brother Nasser. Simple as this. Okay. 3, this red card is expensive. The blue card is less expensive. Okay. The blue car isn't, because they are different. Here, this is expensive, and here, it's less expensive. So we use the negative here. The blue car isn't as expensive as the red car. Okay? Rome is an amazing city, and so is Paris. We are comparing between Paris and Rome. So we say Paris is as amazing as Rome. Okay? Now for exercise D, complete the conversation. We have this conversation, we have to complete it. Use comparative and superlative forms of adjective. Then practice the conversation with the partner. So one of you will be A and the other one will be B. You have to read it together after you fill it out. So you have to use the adjectives between brackets to you, and you have to change it either to comparative or superlative form. Okay? Pause the video, think about it, discuss the answer with your friend, and then let's see it together. In your opinion, what is the restaurant in town? This is a question. What is the, we are comparing one restaurant to all the restaurants around the town. So we are using comparative or superlative? Superlative, excellent. So we say, what is the best restaurant in town? B, I think it's Antonio's. I disagree. Antonio's isn't as. What should we do with as and as? Do we do anything with the adjective? La. We write it as it is. We don't add ER. We don't add anything to it. We just put the adjective as it is. As Gino's. Gino's has what? Pasta than Antonio's. When we say see then automatically we use the comparative form. Excellent. So we change it to better pasta than Antonio's. But Antonio's is always crowded. Of course, it's the, here popular, it's a long adjective. So it is the restaurant in town. We use here the superlative. Okay, so we have the most popular restaurant in town, but it is still not the best place to eat. B, so can you tell me where the what food in town is? The best food in town. We use the superlative form here. A, in my opinion, it's at 209 Mulberry Street. B, but that's where you live. Exactly. No one's cooking isn't as good as my mom's. So here he used as good as. Okay, for your homework, please do pages 124 and page 125. If we want to recall what we covered in our lesson today. In our lesson, we covered the comparative form and the superlative form. The comparative form, we are comparing between two things or two people. With the superlative form, we are comparing between 3 or more. Also, we learned how to compare between two similar things or two different things. We use the negative. We're using as and as. Okay? That's it for today. Thank you for listening, and inshallah I will see you next class.